74 people, and we have different teams like VBS, food prep team, and sports, skate, line dance, and prayer teams. Next slide. So what happened during the last 4 years? First 2 years, I think what we did was like a groundwork. We focused on building relationship with natives, and we mainly focused on getting to know them. And I think first 2 years, we concentrate on actually performance part. We practice a lot, like kugak dance and taekwondo performance. So first 2 years, actually, we did, building up relationship. We focused on that. But last year, slightly there was a change. I think I wrote down the mission trip was organized by education department, but actually we didn't intend to be that way. Last year, Pastor Park joined as education department pastor, and Elder Kim has been always the director of Native American mission trip. And I joined actually education department last year also. So the leaders of the Native American mission trip were all from actually education department. That's why I think last year we were able to focus on our children a little more, and instead of focus on like performance and other things, we decided to actually building up a program where we could have a shared experience with Native American children and our children doing something together, having a shared experience. And we also, I think this is kind of very important, that we saw this Native mission trip as an opportunity for our children to have a stronger faith and have a deeper relationship with Jesus. So we actually very concentrate on morning service, evening service, and having Pastor Park and Pastor John last year, and having English service was, I think, very good. Were very good for children also. So next slide. So this year was actually very special. There are many things that happen for the first time, and there are like 7, 8 items. And even if there's one of these, things happen, I would have been happy and consider it as a successful trip. But all of these happen, and I'm going to go over each item on the next slide. So next slide. So just looking at this picture, you could see how many people are involved. Our group was obviously 74 members, and 52 of them were students. That's why we realized that we could have a very huge impact on our children and parents and all the church members. And I jokingly said to Pastor Paul all the time, we are in business of actually changing people's lives. And as long as we have a pure intention and heart, and as long as we could solely depend on Jesus, I knew that this is something special. I knew that native people's lives, our children's lives, our lives would change. And I from the very beginning, that was my realization. And just briefly, I just want you to imagine. I think that's about 100 people, plus 50 people coming in and out. So 150 people. Our food preparation group, they had to serve 4 or 5 meals a day. And imagine 7 days feeding 150 people 5 meals a day every day. Just can you stand up for food? I don't know how they do it. Next slide, please. Open door worship. Actually, last 3 years, when we do the service, we close all the doors because we weren't sure how the native friends will take it. So we close the door and make sure there's nobody outside, and we did like closed door service. But this year is the first time that we actually open our doors, and whoever want to come in, they could come in, and we just did open door service. And I know some of the young, our children might not realize how special that is. I've been going there for 4 years, and this was the first time, and it was just so much relief, and I was so happy that I could just say Jesus. I could say Amen. All those things. Next slide. Okay, and first time this year we did 2 community projects, and this is one of them, orchard project, and we planted 13 trees. And this was actually very hard work. I'm not sure how many of you planted trees, but after planting 4th tree, I was done. I was tired. It was hot. I was done. But Kamsa, he came to me. He just came right next to me. And he said, "Don, let's just finish." Right? I was, and Deacon Wu, he said, "Let's just finish." So I was gonna postpone and just do it later, but we decided to do it, and we finished it, right? And I was so glad we finished planting 13 trees, and I want to tell you why. Because this orchard project, was actually suggested by 92-year-old grandma, Native American grandma, and she's the one who suggested that we should have this type of project. And we did this Tuesday, and Wednesday she passed away, and that was her funeral. Wow. And the Chief Joe, we call Uncle Joe, and he said, during the funeral, he spoke to the people who came, and he said to everyone that brothers from Maryland came and planted 13 trees. And I think it's very meaningful. And right after we completing planting 13 trees, it started to rain, and it was just amazing feeling. Next slide. So this is the second project. It's a home shelter project. This was an abandoned house, and we came in and actually gutted the house. And it was really hot there, and it was dusty. There are more than these people involved, but they never complained. I was hot. Once again, I was tired, but nobody complained that we finished the job. And one of the native friends came and he told us we saved 10 grand, right? And next slide. And prayer desk. Actually, we are very worried because once again, we weren't sure how our Native American friend would take it, right? Guess how many people showed up at the prayer desk? but this was the first time ever it's been done, right? And definitely we need more creative special programs like this. We want to still perform Kuga, Korean traditional dance. We're going to have a taekwondo performance. We're going to maybe step dance next year. We're going to all do all those things, but we want to actually create programs that our kids and their kids could do it together. And one of the things they mentioned was maybe you could have a roundtable talk program that our teenagers and their teenagers just get together and just talk, right? And there are many special programs that we were talked about. And the last slide, I think, not the last. This is actually huge. This is a big one. Once again, last year we weren't really able to talk about gospel. We closed our doors when we did the service. This year, actually, Pastor Park, Elder Don, and I talked about it, how we're going to do it. And we decided to actually announce that who we are and where we came from. We decided to do it. can see there's a cross that we put it up there, and we didn't plan it. I don't know who put it up there still. but so Elder Don actually came up, and he announced that we came from Bethany Church. And he was explaining about the skit that we did. I think the skit name of the skit was a sin chair, and he explained how Jesus could wash out. Only Jesus could wash our sin.
Amen.
That is basically sharing gospel.
Amen.
So Elder Don actually stepped up, announced who we are, and so this is definitely this year was a turning point, right? There's something. This year was just very special. So next slide. So where do we go from here, right? So that's about a couple of weeks ago, we had a team leaders meeting and we had suggestions, and here are some of them, right? And these were not just suggestions that comes. These are all came from deeply caring about the mission trip, deeply caring about the Native American friends. All these suggestions, obviously, you could see that it came from their hearts, right? And one thing most of the people, team leaders wanted to do is actually have an afternoon service, which is open to like Native American friends and have worship or praising or some type of service together. And definitely more community service. I think I told last night of the culture exchange night, I told everyone, the tree is gonna grow, and I'm hoping that our relationship grows just like trees do, right? Something like that. I think doing a community service is a very good idea. And another thing is, instead of just preparing for a couple of months prior to the mission trip, you're gonna have all year round preparation. I think Pastor Paul was talking about maybe having a mission, Bethany Mission School, right? Having a mission training, and at the same time, first have a mission training. Second half, maybe lessons, right? 국악, Korean dance lessons, maybe taekwondo lesson, with a sports lesson, something like that. And definitely, we still need more creative programs. And I think a lot of leaders wanted to have actually 1 or 2 extra days for the mission trip, because we go there 7 days, but we lose 3-4 days on traveling, and we got to spend 3 days. So they were maybe thinking about adding 1 or 2 more days. And then finally, I think definitely it most likely happen that we're going to actually work with the local churches over there and have some type of a revival worship events and VBS. Next page, please. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Pastor Park, Elder King, Elder Don, all the team leaders, once again, the food prep team. And I just want to ask you to continue support with the prayers. So next, we have a couple of testimonies. Fred is going to come up first, and Minza. Then I'm going to come back for question and answer. Maybe 2